All right, good morning, everybody. Today is actually Daf Mem Daled in Erevin, but we left off on the bottom of Mem Gimel and Aleph at the bottom, but hopefully we're going to catch up today. So we were discussing a case about whether Tchum, we know that a person is limited in terms of his Tchum of going 2,000 amos in each direction from where his Malkum Shvisa is. So the question is, let's say somehow a person is in the air. One of the examples was on a boat. All right, person's on a boat. And so then the boat is above the more than 10 tefachim off the ground. So maybe that's considered to be floating in the air. But we have another case. Let's see somebody float, and Rashi said somebody uses the Shem Hashem to basically put themselves in the air. But let's see. So Toshma, come and listen. Bottom line of Mem Gimel and Aleph. Hareini Nazir b'yom sheben David ba. I will become a Nazir on the day that Mashiach comes. Right? So mutter lishtos yaim b'shabbos yom tovim. He's mutter for him to go ahead and drink wine. In other words, he's not going to be a Nazir on Shabbos or Yom Tov. V'yaser, and turn the page. Lishtos yain kol yimosachol. However, weekdays he is forbidden. Now, if you say that there is tchumen above 10, that's probably the reason why Shabbos and Yom Tov is mutter. Why? Because Mashiach can't travel too far, right? Mashiach can't travel more than 2,000 amos. Mashiach will have to abide by the halachas. However, if you say ain't tchumen, but if you say there's no tchumen above 10, so why can't Mashiach, fly? Say Shem Hashem and fly, but between communities and travel more than 2,000 amos. Why should we mutter? Perhaps he'll come that day. So the Gemara says no. Sheni Hasam the pasuk says it says, "Behold, I will send to you Eliyahu Hanavi on the day before." Right? Lifnei bo Yom Hashem Hagadol ba'Noira. No, the pasuk is telling you that Eliyahu will come the first day, and the next day Mashiach will come. So since Eliyahu didn't come yesterday, therefore it's that's the reason why it's mutter. But also Eliyahu didn't come on Friday, so therefore you can go ahead and we since Eliyahu did not come on Friday, so therefore Shabbos Mashiach won't come, and therefore since Mashiach won't come, therefore it's mutter to go ahead and drink wine because you're not going to become a Nazir yet. So Ihachi b'chol kol yom v'yom nami lishtri dehalo as Eliyahu be'etmo. What do you mean? So same rule should apply during the week. Today should be mutter. Why? Because yesterday Eliyahu didn't come. So if Eliyahu didn't come yesterday, Mashiach can't come today. Mashiach can't come today. I should be able to go ahead and drink wine because I'm not a Nazir yet. Elo amrina lebeis din hagadol also. Maybe we could say that maybe Eliyahu did come. He just didn't come to my community. He didn't come to my shul, right? He went to the Beis Din HaGadol, and I didn't hear about it yet. Asa, so Achinami lim the Beis Din HaGadol. Asa. So maybe now we'll say, okay, so why is Shabbos mutter? Maybe Eliyahu came to Beis Din on Friday, and I just didn't hear about it. So my answer is Kvar Muftach lehen liYisrael shein Eliyahu ba lo b'arvei Shabbosos v'lo b'arvei Yom Tov. No, we already we're told that Eliyahu will not come on Erev Shabbos or on Yom Tov. So since Eliyahu can't come on Friday on Erev Shabbos because they have to get ready for Shabbos, and it will ruin the preparations of Shabbos, so therefore on Shabbos you can go ahead and start. Because of one has to get ready for Shabbos. Now the fact that Eliyahu Hanavi cannot come on Friday, also Mashiach nami also maybe Mashiach can't come on Friday. So lishtri. And therefore, it should be mutter. And because, in other words, if it's Fridays he can't come, then maybe Fridays should also be mutter to go ahead and drink wine. He won't become a Nazir yet. No, Eliyahu lo asa Mashiach asi. No, don't say that. Why? Because Eliyahu actually won't come, but Mashiach can come. Why? The came the asi Mashiach hakol abadim heilin yisov. Once Mashiach comes, all the other nations will basically be subservient to the Jewish people, and therefore you don't need to work so hard on Erev Shabbos because you'll have basically people helping you go, schlepping and cleaning the floors and all that. So the Gemara says now. So what's the whole proof here? So he said v'chav v'shabbat v'shabbat lishtari. So I understand. Why don't we say on Sunday should be mutter, right? Leave shabbat nadein chum. Why don't we say, look, if Eliyahu has, since we said that that Sunday is usher. Why? Because perhaps Eliyahu came on Shabbos. Wait. How can Eliyahu come on Shabbos if he can't violate Tchum? It must be that the rule of Tchum doesn't apply in the air, right? So leave sheit minot. There ain't Tchum. Yesh Tchum b'chav Shabbos lishtri. They actually mutter then. Delay asi Eliyahu b'Shabbos because Eliyahu will not be able to come on Shabbos. So Gemara answers, no. Hi Tana Sfukim Misvekele. This Tana is Mesupik as to what the halacha is, whether it applies or not to over 10 tefachim, i.e., if Eliyahu Hanavi is traveling through the air, and there is a suffix as to whether tchumen does apply or not. Well, the chumrah dekai, and therefore he's going lechumrah. Now, the Gemara asks dekai amos. So now, when is this neder being basically this person making the statement of I will become a nazir the day Mashiach comes? So dekai amos, so dekai neder. So ilam dekai bechol. If it's the middle of the weekday, so kevin the chala and the zeros heichi asa shabbos mafkilei. How could you say that Shabbos mutter for him and knows if he makes it on Wednesday? Okay, and now his Nazirah starts because Mashiach could come today. So therefore, how on Shabbos do you say he can drink wine? Right, it already started. Ella. Rather, we're talking about the Kai b'Shabbos, the Kai Nader, or Yontav the Kai Nader. Rather means that only the first day we're talking about. If he makes initially the first day would be on Shabbos. The first when he makes the Neder, the first day would be on Yontav. Then it's mutter that day. However, and that day is mutter. But afterwards, then it'll be usher because then his Nazir starts. So now if he does it on Wednesday, and all of a sudden his Nazir starts, then the Shabbos he won't be able to because he already started his Nazirus. All right, we're at the two dots. Mem Gimel Amud Beis, maybe I don't know, 15 lines on the bottom. So then we said we had the case from our Mishnah that they were sailing and all of a sudden they arrived at a port and they didn't know if they can get out. He says, no, it's okay because I saw the port from where I was, from where when Shabbos started. Since the port was within 2,000 amos of where the boat was, therefore no problem getting out. Now, Tana. Shaferes Haisel Rav Gamliel, right? He has Shaferes is like a type of like a telescope, right? That he had Rav Gamliel that he was able to go ahead and show Mabi v'Seifa B'Alpai Mabi. He can go ahead and look out 2,000 amos b'Yabash on the dry land. Ukenegda Alpai Amma. So now it's 1,000 on the dry land, and you can go ahead and look out. Basically, you can see 2,000. In other words, he was able to see exactly how much it is. And therefore, one knows what a person wants to know is just giving you some helpful hints now. The Gemara is so. If one wants to know how deep a valley is, maybe go ahead and bring somebody. Let's say you know how far it is, right? You have an instrument, right? That you know. You can go ahead and see 2,000 amos. Then you bring it to a valley, and if you can see the bottom of it, then you know it's at least 2,000. And therefore you can know how deep the valley is. And here's a good tip actually. A person wants to know how high a tree is. So what should you do? Right? First, he should go ahead and measure his own height and his own shadow. So if his height is 6 feet and his shadow is 4 feet, right? Vitzel Kamoso, and then Vitzel Kamoso, and then he goes ahead and measures the what's it called? The shadow of the tree. So he knows the ratio of his own shadow to his own height, and if he knows the shadow of the tree, then he can tell you using the same ratio how high the tree is. Therefore, he can tell you the height of the tree. And one who doesn't want to go ahead and have animals basically by a kever, perhaps will go ahead and dig up a body. What should you do? No, it's kind of a david shalos. Go ahead and put a stick there at the fourth hour of the day. Basically, the fourth hour of the day is when it becomes hot and animals begin to go ahead and seek shade. Right, during the middle of the day, will see which way the shadow casts, and he'll know. Okay, the animals are going to seek shade. And goes and basically, so if he sees the shadow is coming, let's say down this way, the sun's back here, and the shadow is coming down here. So what should he do in order to avoid it? Basically, build the kever on a slant that it doesn't create any sort of shadow because he knows the angle of the sun during the fourth hour, and then it will minimize the amount of shadow. If it minimizes the amount of shadow, then no animals will come there after there's an animal or some in the grave. No animals will go ahead and seek shelter from the hot sun, and therefore you'll save. Fine. New case. Back to the Gemara. So Nehemiah bereid Rav Chaniloi mashkizei shmaitza. One time he was learning. He was involved in his learning, and he wasn't paying attention. He went out of his tchum. So later Rav Chizla, Rav Nachman. So Rav Chisda said, Rav Nachman, Nechemeth Habidecha Shuri B'tzar. So he says, Rav Chisda, he's in pain, right? He left the Tchum. He only has Daled Amos. So Merlo, Asay Le Mechisa Shabbat Adam V'Ikonis. Go ahead, surround him with people. Basically, they will become a fence. And we said that if he's enclosed in a fence, then he's allowed to go ahead and move around further. So once he's enclosed in the fence, then he can move around further, basically within the Tchum. The Yasiv, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Achrei the Rava. So Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak was sitting there behind Rava. Yasiv Rava Kamei the Rav Nachman Amarlei. So he said to him, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak the Rava. So Rav Nachman said the Rava, my Kamei. Rav Chisda, I understand what was he asking for Rav Chisda to do? And I was, what was the answer there? If we're talking about that there was enough people there to make a mechitza to basically extend this wall of people to back into his tchum, and is he asking the halachas like Rav Gamliel? Now, remember, what was the halacha about Rav Gamliel? If a person was in a tchum, okay, and then he was taken out of a tchum, okay, and then he was brought back, right? So does he get only Daled Amos, or is he able to go ahead and move about? So is he asking over here, hey, if you hold like Rabbi Gamliel says, so since there's no areas enclosed, he's like in a pen, so therefore he's allowed to move throughout the pen, right? And once again, he didn't do this purposely. The guy was, learning, right? It wasn't forced out, but it definitely was not intentional. So is he asking that halachas like Rabbi Gamliel or not? Oh, turn the page. Now we're on today's daf. Is he asking the halachas like Rabbi Gamliel or not? Oh, Dilwer perhaps. Maybe we're talking about the amount of people there were not enough to go ahead and reach his tchum. Rather, he was within, let's say, a couple amos, right? 2 amos away from his tchum. The halach Rabbi Eliezer. Oh, I know halach Rabbi Eliezer. Is halach Rabbi Eliezer? We'll see later on that one is allowed to go ahead, and even though it's outside his tchum, to go 2 amos or not, right? And so Gemara says, no, Pshita Deloy Malagavri, Maz Askina. It's obvious it can't be the Shiloh was that there was enough people to make a full amount of circle and that he could reach the Tchum. And the question was, is Allah like a Magil or not? Why these Sagadai say the Malagavri Askina? If we're talking about there was enough people, my Tiboili, what's the Kasha? Hamarav, Halach Galil, but there was Sarah we said Rav said earlier, we saw yesterday, the halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel when it comes to a person in an enclosure or on a boat, that once you're on that area, you get the entire area in there. So if the people are there, it should be fine. Ella, Vadai, B'delay, Malu, Gavri. Asking. Rather, we must be talking about a case where there are not enough people, and they're asking whether the halachas like Rabbi Eliezer, that even though that their wall of people only came within 2 tfachim, or two amos back, where he can go ahead and go back to his tchum and then be able to walk at his tchum. Nevertheless, that was the question. And Dikanami, you can also make an inference. The Kamar Le, Yikanes, it says that there, Yikanes, he shall enter. My Yikanes, La Beloy Mechitza. Right? It sounds like Yikanes means like he's outside the fence, he's entering outside Mechitza. It's not like the area is enclosed. It's the Yikanes, and now it's the wall of people, and then he has to enter. So it sounds like that it wasn't enough people to go ahead and reach all the way. Fine. Eisvei Rav Nachman by Yitzchak LeRav. Now we're going to ask a shaila, and we're going to bring a contradiction between 2 different braysos, and we're going to try to explain it. Now, so if you ask the kasha about making a wall of people, so Rav Nachman by Yitzchak LeRav, Nafel Daifna. Let's say a person's wall on Sukkos, right, fell down. Lo Yamid Ba'adam Behema V'Kelim. A person should not go ahead on Shabbos or on Yontif, right? A person can't stand there as the wall, or you can't go ahead and use a person, right, or an animal, or utensils, right, such as a veleiskov, as a mita, or stand up a bed, to put a sheet there, because you're not allowed to go ahead and make a temporary ohel, right, or a structure on Yantif, and certainly not on Shabbos. So over here, you can't make a temporary structure. You can't make this temporary wall on Yontif, and certainly not Shabbos. So wait, you just said before, have people walk there and make people become the wall. People will come to mechitzas, and then he could re-enter his tchum. But over here, we see you can't use a person as a temporary structure. So what's going on here? So you asked me a kasha from this brisa. You're right, this brisa is a contradiction. But there's another brisa. What's this other brisa? It says, Adam es chavera daifen kadesh yechel v'yishta v'yishem v'yiska. A person's allowed to go ahead and make his friend, his daifen, his wall for sukkahs, in order they should be able to eat in the sukkah or drink or sleep in the sukkah. Or v'yizkav as a mita, or stand up the bed, v'yifras la'sadin, or put a sheet there, kadesh shelo yitipol chama alameis, or go ahead and stand up a mattress or as a bed and put a sheet there, in order that the sun won't go ahead and go upon a maze, or ruin food. So you see, you could make a temporary structure. So we have one brisa that says you cannot, right? That was the first brisa, and then we have the second brisa that clearly says you could, right? So now the bigger issue is, okay, forget the case of surrounding people around who was the one who was learning around Rab Chaniloi, right? Actually, was it? Yeah. No, Nehemiah, right? Yeah, it was Nehemiah, right? For Nehemiah, right? So forget about him right now. We have a contradiction in brises. So when it says the kasha na adadi, it's the kasha, so like kasha. So the first attempt is Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbanan. Maybe one is the Rabbi Eliezer that we saw earlier, as we're about to explain. That was Rabbanan. The Tanakh we learned in the Mishnah, right? We talking about shutters, right? We talked about this last Masechta and Shabbos. We talked about, right, a person puts a shutter, right, into the window. Perhaps it's like building, right? Perhaps there's a problem of building. So if it was if it's hanging from let's say a string and it's hanging from the house, and now it's still attached to the house, and basically you put it back in, then you're allowed to go ahead and do it. However, but if it's not hanging, let's say either it's not on a rope at all, or maybe it's on a rope but the rope's on the ground, you can't go ahead and do it. Why? Because that is binyan. You're building there. You always got to put it. It's not a problem of building, right? You're just putting the shutter back in and closing the window, right? And therefore, that's not a problem. And we said over there, I'm a Rabbi Barachana, I'm Rabbi Yechon, I call Maidim Shein, I sit all right, but Yantif, they ain't circling my Shabbos, right? Wait a second. That machloikas over there, everybody holds that you can't go ahead and make a new ohel, right? Even Rabbi Eliezer agrees you can't make a new ohel. So you can't just a person make a wall. In other words, it's not shaykh to say that one of these brises, the one that permits making the wall on Sukkot, is Rabbi Eliezer because he permits making a wall, because that was only talking about because he agrees that you can't go ahead and make one new. But he's only talking about adding on. When you already have an existing house and you're plugging up the window, that's what it's talking about. But it's not talking about creating a new wall, right? That can't be. Right? Rabbi Eliezer says you can't go ahead and add on Yantiv, and certainly you can't go ahead and do it on Shabbos. You're allowed to go ahead and add on Shabbos, and certainly you're allowed to go ahead and add on Yantiv. So going back, we still have a contradiction between two brises. So here comes attempt number 2. El Kasha, Ha Rabbi Meir, Ha Rabbi Yehuda. One is the opinion of Rabbi Meir, and the other is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. The tiny within the brisa, also lebehema daifel l'sukkah. A person goes ahead and he makes his animal, right? This year, everyone's here for sukkahs. Not enough material goes around. The person takes his cow and has his cow become his wall. Rabbi Meir paisel. Rabbi Meir says pasul. Doesn't work. It's nothing. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, it's a good wall. You can go ahead and use your sukkah. Rabbi Meir to go pasul. Over there are Meir pasels. Hasam. Alma, le mechisi. So you see, by the fact he passes it, he holds it's not a mechitza, right? Because he says pasul, right? He doesn't say whether a person already did it, right? And I'm not saying whether one's allowed to do it. A person already did it, okay? Now, can I eat in that sukkah or not? So he's saying he can't, he says it's pasul. Alma, le mechitzi. So it's not a mechitza. So hacha shari delami dekavi. So over here, right, the person's going ahead and making it for a sukkah, right? So we see it's not considered to be making a wall. So since it's not considered making a wall, it's mutter to do it, right? Doesn't mean it works. It's just mutter to do it. Rabbi Yehuda, the kamachshir hasan over there, Rabbi Yehuda says, no. It is a kosher sukkah because your cow is a wall. So alma mechitzi. So you see that an animal, it can become a wall. The hacha in hacha aser over here, he would say aser. So Gemara says, "Batizba, this doesn't make sense." Amar dishmias leila meir behema. Okay, maybe an animal that you're talking about over there. Did he ever say a human could be to go ahead and that's not a wall if a person is there, or if people are there, or if Kalim, or if he sets up his bed, that's not a wall at all. And furthermore, the mayor, according to who? If it's according to Rabbi Eliezer, he can't even go ahead and add. And it's according to Rabbanan, right? That he knows who holds his mutter. They only said you can make a wall, right, out of kalim or a person, only lahaisif, only to, on Shabbos, right? On Shabbos, only to add on. Right? Do they say you can add on? They can. So it doesn't make sense to say this. The contradiction between the two brises is Rabbi Meir, who holds that an animal is nothing, because even if a human and a kalim is something, and he can't, it's lechachila. Ella. Hava Rabbanan. Really, it's the Rabbanan, right? And the Rabbanan are the one who said, the earlier mentioned that it's not a issue of using the shutter. So it's not using issue of shutter. So let's go ahead and answer the stuff. The kalim like kasha, and maybe in the cases of the kalim, right, utensils such as like the mattresses or the beds, right? Kalim like kasha, habadaif and shlishis, habadam and ravis. If it's a third wall or fourth wall, right? Since a third wall is it's not called, having two walls is nothing. And therefore, when you make the third wall, it makes it into a structure, right? It makes it into a structure. So therefore, that's choshev now, right? So therefore, since you make, by making a third wall, that's the case where it says it's also to do, whether, with a meat or whatever it is. That was the case if you're not allowed to do it, because it was making the third wall. And the third wall is considered to be baina, because you're making your sukkah with that. It's considered to be an oyel arai. And therefore, that's the reason why it's no good. And the case where he said you're allowed to go ahead and use, right, basically use kalim, or set up a bed as a wall, that was daf and revis. That was referring to the fourth wall. The fourth wall was really insignificant. You're just being meisif. You're adding on to something that was already there. It already had three walls. So you do a fourth wall. That's meisif al opinion. That's mutter according to the Rabbanan. And dikanami, you can also infer diktani nafel daifta. It says over there if its wall fell down, right? It wasn't talking, right? Since it's talking about his wall falling down, therefore, it's referring to the fourth wall. And Shema Midah, and indeed we learn from there. So we say over there, and his wall fell down was going on the first brisa, right, which was the third wall. His wall fell down, and therefore it's no longer a structure. And then he puts it up. That's the case. It's usher because that's considered to be binyan of an oyel arai because it's not being ma'asid. So Shema Midah. So Ella, turn the page. Adam kasha. So what about humans, right? Okay, you answered the case of the kalim. So what about humans, right? Why is one case Adam is okay to be the wall, and the other case Adam is not okay to be the wall? El Adam kasha. So Adam namiloi kasha. Kan ladas, kan shlodas, midas. There's two different things. If a person knows he's acting as a wall, he can't be a wall. But if people are standing there and they don't realize that they're a wall, then it works, right? So we even find this now in other halachas, right? Nowadays, you can have a wall of people. As long as the people don't know they're standing around and they're acting as a wall, then you could use them as a partition. But once they know they're standing as a wall, then it doesn't work, right? So what about the case where he says, okay, have people stand around, all right, and they'll be the wall. Didn't they know? So he says, no, shalom das habi. No, they didn't realize their wall. They were just told, hey, you guys just stand here and talk to each other. Like no one realized that there was someone there who needed a wall of people, right? They didn't realize. They thought they were playing Red Rover. And Rav Chisda Mi'ala Das Havi, or Rav Chisda was there. It was his suggestion, right? So obviously he knew that he was being a wall. So Rav Chisda Shalom Minamin Havi. So Rav Chisda was not part of the wall, right? He was the one who basically sort of set it up, but he was not part of the wall. So you see over here that's the difference. That if you have people who know that they're a wall, it doesn't work. But if you have people standing there, even if someone else stands them up there, but they themselves don't realize they're acting as a wall, then they could be a wall. Now, two dots. Now we're going to give some examples of where people were actually walls. So Hanu b'nei Ganana d'iloi my b'mechitza shel b'nei Adam. Right, there were these people. They used to carry water from the rishus, from one rishus to the other, right, using people as walls. In other words, they would go to the rishus rabbim and take the rishus yachid, and basically people were walls, and therefore it was rishus rabbim, right? It was surrounded. So, however, Nagdina Shmuel. So Shmuel gave the Malchus. Amar Imam Roshalomi Das, right? Yomri Ladas, right? Because if he says no, that even though you guys knew what you were doing, so yes, we did matir carrying right with human mechitzas, but we didn't say human mechitzas when people knew about it. So therefore, and he gave Malchus there. And Hanu Zike the Havi Shadin Beristakab the Mechuza. They used to also have like these leather, also once again like similar these leather canteens, whatever they were used for carrying water, and people used to carry around. And I guess they left them in the town square for the big shear. They left them for the big shear in Mechuza. And the Bahadi Dasi Rava Miperke. Once Rava was done giving shear, he left the perik. And Ani Nile, so then his shamash went and he took the water to go ahead and carry it. Why was he able to carry it? Because there were so many people outside, and then basically using the people as a wall, However, the Shabbos, the next Shabbos, then he wanted to go ahead once again and carry it. He said, because it says over here that the people, since they were aware from last time that he was allowed to go ahead and carry it because the people were the walls. So now that they knew that they were being used as the wall, therefore it wasn't able to go ahead and basically carry this water canteen in. And finally, Levi Tivna used to go ahead and carry Tevin straw, using people as a wall, and Ziri as pasta. He would go ahead and use fodder like a feed. And Rav Shin Berachia, Maya bring water. All of them were used. They used people who did not know that they were being as walls. They would use them, right? I know as an example, common example is by Simchas Torah, right? Simchas Torah. How could you sit on the Sefer Torah? People are dancing, but if Torahs are in the middle and people are going around, people are standing around the Sefer Torah, that itself creates a mechitza, and it's like you're not in the same room as the Torah, and therefore perhaps one could sit over there. It's a shiloh. Anyways, fine. Now Mishnah. Mishnah says on Mem Dalad Amud Beis, Mi Sheyatzer Rishus, a person left a tchum with permission. He went to go ahead and do a mitzvah. The big example, Rashi brings his Eidos HaChodesh, right? He sees the new moon. He's going to go ahead and testify. He saw the new moon, or to save people, or other mitzvah. He goes out. And on his way, they told him, "Hey, by the way, someone already testified at Beis Din, or the people were already saved, from the captures." So Yeshlo Alpayim Amal Charuach. So normally the rules: a person leaves his tchum, he only gets 4 amos. So because we don't want people say, you know what, I don't want to go ahead and testify about the new moon, because what's going to happen? Someone's going to be there, and then I'm going to be stuck there for Shabbos. It ain't happening. I'm not doing it. No, we don't say that. We say, you know what? Wherever you are, you still get 2,000 amos from that space if you're told that the Maisa was done already. So in order not to deter people from going, we say you still get 2,000 amos. And if he was still in tchum, we'll soon explain what this line means. If he was within his tchum, then it's like he never left. And whoever left to go ahead and save, they can return to their spots. We'll also have to understand that case in the Gemara. So let's see the Gemara. What is it?
Just like Hatzalah.
Like Hatzalah, yeah, very well, could be. Now, let's see the Gemara. So, what does it mean, that line? If they were within the tchum, as they start to leave, right? This is what it sounds like, right? The guy sees the new moon. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave. He walks. He has 2,000 amos outside his, from outside his city, or right, and he's 1,500 amos away. And then he was told, right? He's told, okay, im haya sayetchum kilo. It's like he didn't leave. So Amar Rabba, hachi kamar im haya b'saychatchum shalo. If he's still within his chum, kilo yatz. It's like he didn't kilo lo yatz. It's like he didn't leave his house, dummy. So he says, "Pshit, that's obvious, right? Anytime I leave, if I go 1,500 amos out, I can always walk back because I got 2,000 amos. So of course it's like I never left, right? So the Gemara said, no, since once I had in mind to leave and I was leaving, so therefore it's like I gave up my makam shvisa, I gave up my town. Kamash, well, that's not true. And Rav Shimi Bar Chiya Amar Hachi Kamar, he says, this is what he means to say. Im hayetchum shenas naloi chamim muvlin b'sei chatchum shalom. Let's say I left my tchum, okay? And I went to an area 3,000 amos away. And then I was informed, oh, they already testified. Now, my 3,000 amos, if I go 2,000 in each way, would overlap, right? If I was 5,000 amos away, then 2,000 here, 2,000 here, and there's 1,000 in the middle. But if I was 3,000 amos, it overlaps, right? So even though I'm all the way over here, but since my tchum overlaps with my old tchum, maybe that's what it's saying. Then it's like I never left, and I can go ahead and use it, right? So my kamiflagi. So what's the machlokes here? Mar sever have lost tchum milsi, mar sever milsi. So maybe the machlokes says one holds that there's such thing as tchum muvla. Right? Tchum muvla means since it's overlapping, so therefore it's like it's connected. The other one does not hold of it. So I'm really a buy the rabbi ad like tisbro have lost tchum milsi, but you don't hold that there's a concept of have lost tchum. Now here's that picture. I think some of the pictures. There's a picture down in the bottom. Rashi. Let's say a person starts Shabbos, he's down in the cave. Arbas alofim, right? It's 4,000 amos. Is 4,000 amos wide. All right, so it's the middle of 4,000. But on the top, it like narrows up when it goes up a little bit from the thickness of the walls, and the two entrances on the ends are not exactly 4,000 amos apart. They're, let's say, 3,800 amos apart. Okay. So, but in the cave, it's 4,000. All right. So, right? Can a person not walk right from if he gets on top, right? He can get the 2,000 amos, right? He gets the 4,000 as if the 4,000 was on top, and then 1,000 in each direction. Or right, or whatever, 2,000, right? He gets right he gets the 2,000 each direction, right? Even though and on top of the 4,000. So in other words, even though on the bottom, right, he's 4,000, on top is only 38, but he gets the extended version. Why? Because it overlaps it, right? So right? So he said, no, maybe the difference is like this. Maybe the difference is over there, since he started Shabbos there, so that's the reason why he gets the full amount. But maybe if he doesn't start Shabbos there, like the case we were talking about, a person who leaves to go ahead and testify about a new moon or something like that, so then since maybe then we wouldn't say that we wouldn't say that the what's it called Havlas Tchumen in that case, because he didn't start Shabbos there. Maybe it's only when you start Shabbos there, that's when you can basically use other tchumen, like the case of the cave, where you're at the bottom and then you're on the top, and you're able to actually go ahead and widen it because there was the two entrances to the cave, because they overlap. But in the other case, our case, maybe you wouldn't. So now the Gemara will ask on that, and we'll continue from here tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem. So everyone have a wonderful day. And now it appears we are officially caught up, minus 4 words. Shkoyach, everybody.
Have a great day.
Have a lovely day. Enjoy.
I want you to keep Zadie's